The Netherlands appears charming, almost innocent to the first-time visitor. A country of tulips painted in rows across the countryside, of windmills casting long shadows against the horizon, of bicycles filling the streets in a rhythm as natural as breathing. Travelers land in Amsterdam with images of canals and museums, Rembrandt and Van Gogh, stroopwafels and cheese markets. But what they encounter beneath this picturesque surface is something altogether unexpected. One of the most open, adventurous, and daring cultures on the planet. A society where intimacy is not taboo but celebrated, where swinging with strangers is simply a lifestyle choice, and where nightlife offers freedoms that most of the world can barely imagine. This is not a society built on secrecy but on transparency. The Netherlands, with an area of about 41,000 square kilometers and a population nearing 18 million, thrives on a balance of prosperity and progress. Its per capita income sits around $63,000, among the highest in Europe. And this wealth, combined with universal health care, world-class infrastructure, and comprehensive education, allows the Dutch to live without the anxieties that plague other nations. In this environment, people can afford to indulge in desires, and what emerges is a nightlife unlike any other. Amsterdam is the epicenter. By day, the canals shimmer with golden light. Rowboats float lazily beneath arched bridges, and locals pedal gracefully to work or cafes. By night, the city seems to flip itself inside out. Neon glows against the water. The air hums with music, and discreet doorways lead into clubs where swinging is not whispered about, but openly embraced. Memberships are clearly advertised: $80 for couples, $40 for women, and around $200 for single men, with premium clubs offering VIP packages at even higher rates. Inside, the spaces are elegant, not seedy. Velvet couches, crystal chandeliers, cocktail bars serving $12 martinis, champagne bottles priced from $60 to $120, DJs spinning deep house music, and themed rooms where fantasy becomes tangible. Guests arrive dressed stylishly, talk easily with strangers, and soon the atmosphere melts from casual socializing into intimacy that feels less like scandal and more like celebration. Outside Amsterdam, the same openness thrives. Rotterdam's sleek, modern skyline hosts swinger clubs that combine urban design with sensual adventure. Utrecht's villas regularly transform into private party spaces, where 20 to 50 guests gather for nights of shared laughter and exploration. Entry costs range from $50 to $150, depending on scale and exclusivity. But once inside, guests are greeted with curated atmospheres that rival high-end events anywhere in the world. Drinks flow freely, music sets the pace, and boundaries dissolve as strangers become companions in a matter of hours. The ease with which this happens is perhaps the most surprising part for visitors. Dutch culture is defined by directness, honesty, and equality, values that carry over into relationships and intimacy. Dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Field are not just tools for casual conversation, but straightforward platforms for connection. A Dutch woman might write clearly in her profile, "In an open relationship, exploring with my partner, interested in fun this weekend." To foreigners, this bluntness can be shocking, but here it is simply efficient, respectful, and authentic. Dates themselves are equally practical. A dinner at a mid-range restaurant might cost $70 to $90 with wine, followed by cocktails at a bar for another $60. And from there, the path leads naturally to a club, a party, or a hotel. No games, no delays, just honesty and curiosity shaping the night. Hotels play a crucial role in this ecosystem of exploration. Boutique stays in the heart of Amsterdam start around $150 per night. Four-star options rise to $250, and luxury canal view suites can climb above $500. For long-term visitors, monthly apartment rentals in central districts average $2,000 to $3,000. These aren't simply places to sleep, but stages for the continuation of nights that begin elsewhere, private sanctuaries where desire and intimacy unfold freely. The economics of this lifestyle extend far beyond individual experiences. Swinger tourism has become a significant industry, contributing millions annually. Mega events like the Amsterdam Kinky Party attract over 2,000 participants, tickets ranging from $100 to $300 per couple. Guests spend heavily on costumes, drinks, and accommodations, while airlines and hotels see spikes in revenue during these weekends. For many, a weekend adventure totals about $1,000 in expenses. But the stories, encounters, and memories created carry a value far beyond money. Living this lifestyle varies depending on budget. At $2,000 per month, one can cover modest rent, attend smaller events, and enjoy occasional dining. At $5,000, the lifestyle expands to boutique hotels, frequent club entries, and finer restaurants. With $10,000 or more, exclusivity becomes standard. Penthouses, private villa parties, VIP tickets, and tailor-made experiences curated for travelers who want the very best. What binds all of this together is the Dutch approach to freedom. Swinging with strangers is not a rebellion against tradition or morality, but an extension of deeply rooted cultural values: equality between genders, honesty in relationships, and the right of individuals to live as they please. Couples here often report that exploring together strengthens their bond, deepens their trust, and re-energizes their relationships. Singles enjoy opportunities to connect openly without stigma. For visitors, the result is a society that feels both futuristic and shockingly natural, a place where desires hidden elsewhere are lived out with joy. This is the paradox of the Netherlands, a land of tulips and canals that doubles as one of the world's most uninhibited playgrounds, a place where what begins as a quiet cityscape transforms into a stage for fantasies once the sun goes down. Beyond the first impressions of clubs and parties, the Netherlands reveals even more complexity in how intimacy is woven into the fabric of its culture. Swinger tourism has become a recognized sector of the economy, drawing tens of thousands of international visitors each year. Studies estimate that adult-themed tourism contributes hundreds of millions of dollars annually, not just in nightlife, but across hotels, dining, and transportation. Events such as Erotic XXL in Rotterdam or BITCH in Amsterdam bring in crowds so large that entire districts fill with travelers. Airlines schedule extra flights during these weekends, while hotels sell out months in advance. Luxury suites that normally cost $500 per night climb to nearly double when demand peaks. In smaller towns, boutique hotels benefit as overflow from the city's pushes tourists outward. What sets the Netherlands apart is how seamlessly this integrates into everyday life. Unlike destinations where adult entertainment is isolated from mainstream society, here it exists alongside museums, schools, and daily routines without stigma. Surveys show that over 60% of Dutch adults consider open relationships and swinging acceptable lifestyle choices, compared to less than 20% in much of Southern Europe or the United States. This broad cultural approval creates an environment where travelers feel welcome rather than judged, making participation more comfortable even for first-timers. The regional diversity adds another layer of intrigue. Amsterdam dominates the international imagination, but Rotterdam is known for its high-energy electronic music festivals that blend with intimacy-centered after-parties. The Hague, with its political institutions, hosts surprisingly discreet yet upscale gatherings that cater to diplomats and professionals. Groningen, a university city in the north, is famous for younger crowds exploring polyamory and swinging in experimental ways, while Eindhoven's tech-driven population gravitates toward private, high-tech party spaces with virtual reality themes and futuristic lounges. Each city offers a different flavor, meaning that a traveler can spend weeks moving across the country without repeating the same kind of experience. The numbers tell their own story. The Netherlands welcomes nearly 20 million international tourists annually, more than its total population, and analysts estimate that at least 1 million of those visitors engage in nightlife or intimacy-focused activities. The spending habits of this group are striking. The average nightlife tourist spends $150 to $200 per day on accommodation, food, and events, while swinger tourists spend nearly triple that, often reaching $500 per day. Over the course of a week-long stay, this creates a per-person contribution of more than $3,000, showing why local economies encourage and sustain the industry. But beneath the economics lies the psychology that makes it all possible. Dutch people are raised with a philosophy of directness. Say what you mean, avoid unnecessary drama, and respect boundaries clearly. This approach spills into dating and intimacy, making negotiations over desires smoother and more respectful than in cultures where indirectness dominates. Foreign visitors often remark on how refreshing it feels to hear a partner state plainly what they want or don't want, eliminating awkwardness and creating safety. This clarity, combined with a high level of gender equality, ensures that encounters feel balanced, where women in particular are empowered to explore on their own terms. Travel itself adapts to this lifestyle. Tour companies now offer romance and intimacy packages that include canal cruises, museum tours, and reserved tickets to swinger clubs. Luxury agencies cater to wealthy clients, charging $10,000 or more for curated weekends that include penthouse stays, private villa parties, and introductions to exclusive social circles. Budget travelers, meanwhile, find community in shared apartments, hostel meetups, and smaller, more affordable local events that still deliver the thrill of Dutch openness. The balance between history and hedonism continues to fascinate visitors. A tourist may spend a morning in Delft, learning about centuries-old porcelain traditions, enjoy an afternoon cycling through tulip fields in Lisse, and end the night at a countryside estate, where couples dance under chandeliers before disappearing into hidden rooms. This duality is what keeps the Netherlands unique. A country that never forces travelers to choose between culture and pleasure, but instead offers both in abundance. Ultimately, what captivates people is not just the possibility of swinging with strangers, but the feeling of being in a society where nothing needs to be hidden. Whether at a high-energy Rotterdam event, a quiet Utrecht villa, or a discreet The Hague gathering, the experience leaves travelers with memories that blur fantasy and reality. For many, it's not simply about intimacy, but about freedom itself. The chance to live without judgment, to connect without fear, and to discover a side of themselves they might never have uncovered at home. In the Netherlands, that freedom is not rare or radical. It is simply life lived openly, a reflection of a culture that has mastered the balance between discipline and desire. Inside the walls of Dutch swinger clubs and private events, what surprises most visitors is not excess, but organization. Every club operates with clear rules, consent protocols, and codes of conduct. Guests check in at reception, pay entry fees, receive wristbands that mark their role, couples, single women, or vetted men, and are often given a tour before being left to explore. Spaces are designed not only for intimacy, but for comfort. Dance floors, cocktail lounges, massage rooms, saunas, and quiet zones where conversations unfold before decisions are made. Staff enforce boundaries discreetly, ensuring safety and respect, making even first-timers feel at ease. This professionalism is why the Netherlands has become the gold standard for swinger culture worldwide. Foreign visitors quickly notice how easily they are welcomed into these spaces. Unlike in some countries where local scenes resist outsiders, Dutch venues thrive on international participation. English is widely spoken, menus and event schedules are bilingual, and communities are accustomed to tourists who arrive curious but uncertain. Apps and online forums connect travelers with hosts in advance, offering details about dress codes, etiquette, and expectations. Many clubs even provide discounted packages with nearby hotels, simplifying the experience for couples flying in from abroad. For solo women, the openness is even more striking. Far from being marginalized, they are celebrated, often given reduced entry or complimentary drinks as encouragement, reflecting the country's commitment to gender equality in nightlife. At the heart of this culture lies an unconventional approach to relationships. Monogamy remains common, yet the Dutch see openness not as betrayal, but as negotiation. Many couples approach swinging as a way to strengthen trust, exploring fantasies together while maintaining emotional commitment. Research by Dutch universities suggests that couples in consensual, non-monogamous arrangements report equal or higher levels of relationship satisfaction compared to monogamous peers. The key is communication. Partners discuss boundaries openly, reassess regularly, and treat exploration as an ongoing conversation rather than a secret indulgence. Technology plays a pivotal role in this evolving landscape. Dating platforms like Joy Club and local Dutch forums allow travelers and locals to connect before they even meet in person. Virtual tours of clubs help new guests choose venues that fit their preferences, while encrypted messaging apps protect privacy. Some of the most exclusive gatherings require digital invitations, complete with identity verification, ensuring a curated guest list that keeps experiences safe and elevated. In recent years, a fusion of wellness and sensuality tourism has grown alongside traditional swinging. Resorts now advertise packages that combine yoga retreats, thermal spas, and tantra workshops with evenings that lean into more adventurous encounters. Guests spend mornings meditating by the sea in Zeeland, afternoons cycling through the countryside, and nights at clothing-optional social mixers where intimacy develops naturally. This merging of health and hedonism reflects the Dutch belief that pleasure is not separate from well-being, but part of a holistic lifestyle. Generational shifts are also reshaping the scene. Older generations, those who pioneered the lifestyle in the 70s and 80s, still frequent clubs, but prefer more formal, structured events. Younger Dutch, especially millennials and Gen Z, are driving a culture that values fluidity, rejecting strict labels of swinging, polyamory, or monogamy. For them, the focus is on authenticity and personal choice, rather than adherence to a single identity. Parties aimed at younger crowds emphasize inclusivity, with open invitations to diverse orientations and identities, turning intimacy into an extension of broader social acceptance. Outside the nightlife, the contrast between daytime life and nocturnal freedom remains fascinating. Dutch cities look calm, even conservative in the light of day. Families walking along canals, children heading to school, workers crowding cafes for morning coffee. By night, some of these same neighborhoods become hubs of liberated expression. A historic canal house might serve as a family home during the week, but transform on weekends into a private gathering space for dozens of guests. The ability to switch so seamlessly between everyday order and extraordinary freedom is perhaps the clearest reflection of Dutch culture. Structured, disciplined, yet endlessly open to exploration. Internationally, the Netherlands has also become a model for how to manage such openness responsibly. Conferences on sexual health, relationship science, and tourism often highlight Dutch policies that balance personal freedom with public safety. From rigorous STI testing campaigns to city regulations ensuring club hygiene, everything operates under a system that prioritizes health without restricting choice. As a result, visitors not only feel adventurous, but also reassured that their experiences take place within a framework of care. What truly leaves a lasting impression is the sense of possibility. Travelers arrive curious and often cautious, but they leave with stories of unexpected connections, friendships that span continents, and moments of intimacy that redefine how they view relationships. For some, it is a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. For others, it sparks an annual pilgrimage, a tradition of returning to the Netherlands for another taste of a culture that treats desire not as a secret, but as a celebration. Like, subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss new videos.